1000 lb sisters. Tammy moving in next door to Chris Combs may strain his Brittany Combs marriage. Tammy's stubbornness could ruin everything. 1000 lb sisters has captivated viewers with the complex relationships between the Sladen sisters, Tammy and Amy, and their family members. Central to much of the drama and conflict are the personal struggles, weight loss journeys, and emotional challenges that each member faces. One storyline that has sparked significant attention and concern is Tammy Sladen's decision to move next door to her brother Chris Combs. While the idea may seem like an attempt to create a more supportive environment, it could have unintended consequences, especially for Chris's marriage to Brittany Combs. Tammy's stubbornness and her complex relationship dynamics with her family members may put a strain on their already fragile marital balance. Tammy's struggles. A source of constant tension. Tammy Sladen's journey has been tumultuous. Over the seasons, audiences have seen her battle with weight, health issues, and a tendency towards self-destructive behavior. Her relationship with food and her emotional state are deeply intertwined, often resulting in frustrating moments for those around her. Her family, particularly Chris, has always tried to provide support, but Tammy's resistance to advice and her habitual stubbornness create roadblocks. While Chris has always acted as one of Tammy's primary caregivers, offering emotional and practical support in her weight loss journey, the pressure of this role is immense. Despite his own family responsibilities, Chris has prioritized helping his sister, something that many viewers have seen as both admirable and at times, overwhelming. However, this constant caregiving has had ripple effects on Chris's personal life, particularly with his wife, Brittany. Chris and Brittany's marriage, a delicate balance. Chris Combs and Brittany have had their own challenges, which were initially explored when Brittany was introduced to viewers. Their relationship has had its ups and downs, as they juggle the demands of being caregivers while trying to maintain a strong and healthy marriage. Brittany's relationship with Tammy has also been tested, as Tammy has had a history of clashing with those around her, particularly when it comes to receiving guidance on her health and lifestyle. Brittany, being married to Chris, is inevitably intertwined with the familial drama, but her patience and understanding have been evident in how she has dealt with Tammy. She tries to support both her husband and her sister-in-law, but the emotional toll of constantly having to deal with Tammy's needs, moods, and decisions is wearing thin. Brittany is, after all, trying to maintain a balance between her own needs, her marriage, and her desire to help her family. This tension has been brewing for some time, and now, with Tammy deciding to move next door to Chris and Brittany, the situation could become even more strained. Tammy's decision to move. A recipe for trouble? Tammy's decision to move next door to Chris seems like an attempt to create a more stable and supportive environment for herself. She has made significant progress on her weight loss journey and has gone through rehab to help improve her health. However, while this decision may seem logical from Tammy's perspective, it could have major consequences for her brother and his family. By living next door to Chris and Brittany, Tammy will be able to access more support, but at what cost? Living so close to family members, particularly those who already carry the emotional burden of caring for her, may create friction. Chris and Brittany's home has always been a sanctuary where they could come together as a couple and focus on their relationship. With Tammy now so nearby, it could potentially disrupt the dynamic that Chris and Brittany have worked so hard to maintain. Tammy's stubbornness, a key factor in the potential strain. One of the major sources of tension between Tammy and her family members is her stubbornness. Tammy is often unwilling to follow advice, especially when it comes to her weight loss and overall health. She has repeatedly demonstrated that, even though she is given tools to improve her life, she resists change. This is not to say that Tammy is incapable of growth, but her tendency to dig in her heels and reject support is a constant frustration for those who care about her. In the case of her move next door to Chris and Brittany, this stubbornness could be amplified. Tammy may expect a high level of attention and care, which could lead to friction in Chris and Brittany's relationship. While Chris has always been there for his sister, living next door could bring Tammy's needs into sharper focus. Her demands, combined with her resistance to change, may cause tension between Chris and Brittany. Impact on Chris and Brittany's relationship. For Chris, living so close to Tammy may require him to spend even more time attending to her needs, leaving less time for his wife. This may lead to Brittany feeling neglected or unsupported, creating a rift in their marriage. Chris may feel torn between his responsibilities to his sister and his duties as a husband, resulting in feelings of frustration on both sides. Brittany may feel that Chris is prioritizing Tammy over her, leading to a buildup of resentment and emotional distance between them. Additionally, Tammy's dependence on Chris could become increasingly demanding. With the proximity of living next door, Tammy could expect more frequent check-ins, more emotional support, and potentially even physical care, which would take a toll on Chris. This constant caregiving role could make it difficult for Brittany to feel like she's sharing her husband with her, leading to a sense of isolation and emotional strain. Brittany may also struggle with Tammy's persistent defiance and lack of cooperation. When Tammy refuses to take advice or changes her behavior, it could cause tension in Brittany's relationship with her. Brittany's frustration with Tammy could further divide the two women, ultimately causing more friction within the family. The consequences for Chris's mental health. It's not just Brittany who will be impacted by this situation. Chris's own mental health could also suffer. Balancing the role of caregiver while also maintaining a marriage is a heavy burden to carry, and one that could lead to emotional burnout. Chris may feel overwhelmed by the responsibilities of taking care of both his wife and his sister, leading to feelings of exhaustion, frustration, and even resentment. The close proximity of Tammy's new home could exacerbate these feelings, making it harder for him to maintain the balance between his family and his own well-being. Potential solutions: navigating the challenges. If the situation between Chris, Brittany, and Tammy continues to unfold as expected, there may need to be some difficult conversations and boundary setting in order to avoid a complete breakdown in Chris and Brittany's marriage. One potential solution would be for Chris to set clear boundaries with Tammy about the amount of emotional and physical support he can provide. This would require him to have difficult conversations with his sister about her needs and his limitations, which could be a challenging but necessary step to prevent burnout. Another potential solution is for Tammy to work on being more independent and receptive to the support around her. If she can learn to accept guidance and make healthier choices for herself, she may reduce the strain on her family. However, given Tammy's track record of stubbornness, this may not be an easy feat. Ultimately, the key to maintaining harmony in this situation will come down to communication, compromise, and the willingness to prioritize the well-being of all parties involved. Conclusion: Tammy moving next door to Chris and Brittany could very well have lasting consequences for their marriage, especially with Tammy's tendency toward stubbornness and her need for constant attention. Chris's role as both a caregiver to his sister and a husband to Brittany may create emotional strain and lead to tension in their relationship. If Tammy does not make changes to her behavior or if boundaries are not set, the situation could escalate further, potentially affecting the long-term stability of Chris and Brittany's marriage. The future of their relationship will depend on how they navigate this new challenge and whether they can find a way to balance their support for Tammy with the need to nurture their own personal connection. The stakes are high, and the drama is only just beginning.